Okay, time to get your sled out.
We're gonna open the video up. There's a whole nother video.
I know.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. We're still up here at Southside Sales and Service, and you watched us uncrate our two new race sleds, and now behind us is the all-awaited Dynamix sled that Polaris just came out with this year. So lucky enough for me, I came up one time and got all three sleds. So we're super excited to get this thing and kind of get our hands on it and see what it's all about. Yep. And this is obviously the first step. And we went over just how these things were packaged in the last video. So if you didn't see that one, go back and watch. But this is how they come right out of the truck. So me and Bruce are gonna unveil the new trail sled. Hi-ya! Those shocks are prettier in person than I anticipated.
Yeah, they are. Very nice.
You guys should be pros of how to get these things out of crates at this point. All right, guys, so we got the one and only Boost Dynamix, which is my fun sled, my trail sled. Or we have work and play this year. We have the race sleds, which we've talked about already. And now we have the Dynamix. So this is the latest and greatest in the suspension game, which we are the suspension people. So it was kind of justified that we got one of these. And this is what I'll be on all year to see what they do, what they like, how they like it, and what they ride, and kind of just go from there, which this is new to us. I didn't get to ride one last year. Bruce didn't get to ride one last year. So not a ton of insight yet as to what it feels like or what it does, which we'll talk about the entire year. But as for right now, we're just gonna kind of go overview of the sled and what it is. So yes, we have a Dynamix active suspension with live valve. And what that means is all four shocks are all computerized and they are adjusting as you're going. Which is pretty crazy. We're gonna touch a little bit more about that in a little bit, but as far as this sled, the Dynamix only came in a VR1 137. It came with a 650, 850, or boost. I am now a turbo boy, as we call myself. So I got another boost just for where I ride. It kind of fits my riding needs, more so than a naturally aspirated sled. But yeah, so this is the sled that we've talked about for 3-4 years now, pretty much.
Yes.
It's the basics. Everything is the same here. It's the same chassis, same components, same skis, same rear suspension, geometry-wise. Same exact thing that we all fell in love with. Again, VR1 came with a 7S, and that's it. They did two colors for the Dynamix. We have this one, and then we have like a burnt orange one, which is actually really nice.
It is very nice.
Very nice, but we'll be doing the wrap and everything. So this is more my style this year.
I mean, shock-wise, it obviously is the big deal. What Fox came out with, and when we were at Heydays, we talked to the Fox engineers, really getting some insight on what these do and what the comparison is between the Skidoo. Obviously, Skidoo's entered the industry a couple of years ago with their smart shocks, and a lot of people really like it. I mean, it's been a good addition for them.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense, obviously, that now Polaris was working with Fox, obviously, for probably 3 or 4 years on this deal, and now did it. The bonus with this suspension compared to the Skidoo, definitely though, is the fourth shock, because Skidoo only does the two fronts and the rear, and the center shock does a ton of work when you're on the trail. I mean, how you ride and how you enter a bump and what that shock takes, people don't realize, but it, so changes in that shock make a big difference. Absolutely. Well, now it's doing it by itself.
Right, now it does it automatically.
Yeah, and the other big deal is that the Smart Shock, the computer that they have kind of goes by where the shock is, so how much shock rod is in or out of the shock, and that's what it's relating to as far as getting ready you know, when it leaves the ground and what it's going to do. This one is literally inertia. So it's actually doing it before that.
Right.
There's one step before that the shock is actually doing.
Which kind of blows our brain, being in the suspension world. It's like, how does that really possible?
Right.
But they figured it out. Dynamics they did have on the side-by-sides too for
yeah, they do it
for quite some time, and it was really great. So now, again, just like we were saying, they brought it into the snowmobile world. So it's based off inertia. There is an IMU inside the sled, which we'll show you guys in a little bit, of exactly what it is, and it pays attention to pitch, roll, and yaw, as it's called.
Right.
And that tells what shock to do what, and
under braking, you know, it's picking up that inertia and solidifying the front more. You know, transfer when you're on the gas, it's picking up that inertia. So again, though that word is doing a lot in a snowmobile.
And I mean, because that's all that we do, and very rarely are we just riding straight on a perfectly flat trail. Normally it's curves and bumps and
on-off throttle. You know, everybody likes to go on-off throttle. Well, that obviously changes the motion of the sled.
Absolutely.
And where the weight is going.
So we used to have to be able to kind of set a sled up preparing for that, and now it just does it automatically.
Right.
So it's going to be super interesting, and again, as a rider, forever, and Bruce too, it's like, you know, this is going to be pretty crazy of what it's going to feel like. But
it is, yeah.
Super excited about it. I think it's a great entry into that world. As far as springs, we have 80-pound springs up front, and then we have heavy-duty springs in the rear, but just a little bit less preload.
That HD spring we talked about for a long time on these sleds, and now they've taken about 10% of the preload out. Just to get just a little bit more softness on that small stuff. That was just what they decided to do. And then the front track spring is a 83 185. So very close to the spring that's in like an XCR or VR1, but the crossover to 185 is supposed to be much quicker. Because that is one thing with the spring that we've had in the past is most people complain about it. It's too soft. You go into the bumps, you can feel the sled bottom out under your feet.
You feel it right in your feet.
Yep, right in your heels. And this is supposed to be better. So again, even spring-wise, to be able to use it on something else, I'm anxious to
absolutely
to feel it on this and try it on normal.
And I mean, these are adjusting a lot of times a second.
A lot of
times a second.
Yeah.
And we are going to get some more information on this and do a later video of really in-depth stuff. We're working on getting all that collected, but right now we're just doing kind of an overview. So as far as the basics of like what settings you actually have, you have 3 different settings, which Bruce is going to get into right now. What are they, Bruce?
Comfort, rally, and extreme.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So so we are still learning kind of exactly what that is. Obviously, there are softer starting points in each one of them, and then they're going to get more aggressive, more quicker, depending on what mode that you're in.
Yeah, the quickness through the travel gets quicker and stiffer.
Yeah, depending on what mode that you're in.
Yes.
So we have the 3 settings, and there's kind of like a built-in 4th setting, which is the airborne one. So if you leave the ground, if you hit a jump, and it realizes that nothing's touching the ground, they all go full stiff. So your landing is nice and soft.
Nice and soft.
Nice and soft.
Yep.
So we're gonna go ahead and get the panels off and everything, and kind of check out some of the computers underneath, just to show you guys kind of what it looks like under there.
Sorry.
So looking under the hood, it looks almost like your typical boost engine compartment, your turbo and your pipe and everything, but you have this computer here now that's a little newer. Not a little newer, it is definitely new. So that is actually your IMU. So that is the brain of how your Dynamix active suspension works. That is what's telling all 4 shocks what to do and when to do it and how to do it. So it is mounted in there in a specific location, and me and Bruce are just looking, and it's in there. They don't want it to move because, again, depending on where your sled is, if you're leaning forward, back, whatever, that's where it's picking it up from. And that's telling you, that's a level. We'll just call it a level pretty much. Left to right and front to back, it's gonna be a level. So depending on where that sled is and where the degree of that is, that's what's gonna change your suspension settings.
Yeah, yep.
And not only is this IMU just picking up the degree of what you're doing, but it's also picking up acceleration and G rating. So if you're accelerating and it realizes that it's moving quicker, it's going to adjust the shocks accordingly also. And again, it's not super detailed there. We're going to get some more detailed information and really touch on this and have a set of shocks up on a bench. But that is the basic of what that is. So it's pretty much a level and it's a G meter.
Right. So it will be really interesting to see, you know, because with most things that we do, we like to go out and ride without making any changes at all.
Which is what we're going to do here too.
We want to go out and, okay, what does this do? You know, and that was really cool when we did it with a regular boost. Well, now this is going to be something that actually is already making changes when we're out there.
Right.
So that's a plus. The other thing is I wanted to mention is that it does not control rebound at all.
Correct.
This is only for compression. Yeah. So that was one thing I knew that that it didn't do. It does a lot of things. It just doesn't do that. Yeah.
Hey, Bruce, we need you up here, buddy.
Sorry, I was just looking at something.
So yeah, that is the basic overview of what the Dynamix does. Again, it's new to us. We're still learning it. We'll do another detailed video once we get more information, shocks on the bench, and really kind of dive into what these things are and how they function. But super excited, really industry leading, being all 4 shocks changing electronically, which is the first ever out on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
And it should be super exciting. Like Bruce said, it's going to be a learning curve for us because we're going to see what they like, what they don't like, and kind of go from there. But it is definitely a new world for us, new world for you guys. But super exciting because it is like, wow, we're into this world now. Yeah,
I mean, you know, the people that I talk to at Polaris, I mean, I realize they're trying to sell it to me and we're trying to sell it to everybody else.
Yeah.
But I mean, these guys, I've known them for 20, 25 years and they are just talking about,
ecstatic about it.
They just keep telling me, you got to try it. You won't believe it. So.
Yeah. So super excited to get one and get it on snow, just like every other sled. We're excited. I'll bring it home, put its makeup on. I got a pretty cool wrap this year coming for it. And that's it, if that's it for you.
Yep. Till next time.
Yep. Till next time, any questions, comments, put them down below. I will get back to you guys as always. But that's going to do it. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.